Good morning, this is Jeff of Sewer Tech Northwest. We are at 6355 Dawn Street. I've also seen Southwest Dawn Street, but it comes up on the GPS as just Dawn. Anyhow, here in Lake Oswego, we are located at the back of the house. And if you're standing in the street facing the front door of the home, that's generally how I orient and explain everything. We are closer to the right side of the back of the house. So there's kind of a little nook back here. We've got a 4-inch cast iron clean out right at the base of the hose bib. Can't miss this thing. 4-inch cast iron. We're going to check the overall condition and serviceability of the sanitary sewer line. Water is running. We're going to zero the foot counter out here at the base of the clean out. And off we go. And it looks like right as we drop in there, the line has indeed been updated. Or at least part of it has. Although, unfortunately, we've got some issues here. It looks like you've got multiple spots here as we drop in that look like you've got cracks in the pipe. We're going to revisit that here in just a moment, but you've got roots punching right through the sidewall of the pipe in multiple locations. And we'll take a closer look at that on the way out. It's possible that looks like ABS pipe. Sometimes you'll get that effect with Orangeburg. We're going to take a second look at that. It's possible that is Orangeburg that is just held up remarkably well. That does happen sometimes. And I'm I'm using a hose right now to run water just because it's a convenient way to get water down the line. This kind of has the appearance of a septic. I'm going to go run water inside though to make sure that this is still an active line here. Alright, I turned the bathtub on here and we do indeed have water flow. I have had part of the reason I'm doing that is I have had a lot of these over the 13 years I've been scoping lines in Lake Oswego where the city thinks the line is hooked to city sewer, but in reality it's still hooked to cesspool or septic. You know, and or part of the plumbing that accidentally doesn't get switched over, so just wanted to make sure the water was tied in here. I'm hoping I can round this bend here. This is kind of a wonky turn. My camera is not loving it. Okay, that right there is the septic connection. If you see right in front of us where the water is standing, that is a normal thing to see right at a septic connection. That is the tank there. Or the connection to it anyway. So we're going to let the line drain out. I'm going to do some locating here. We do have some pipe with some damage to it. As it sits right now, it's not the kind of stuff that's affecting functionality, but there are cracks and roots coming to the line nonetheless, and that kind of stuff can progress and change with time. Alrighty, so I just put a T marking down here for reference. We're sitting just before the tank, but my marking's probably pulled back maybe 6 inches or so from the actual connection to the tank here. I did that partly, we're sitting extremely close to the house here. I'll show it with the camera in just a moment, but it's one of those things I would check into. It's very uncommon that I see a connection to a septic this close to the house, just to make sure there's no issues with like setbacks and things of that nature. Some counties and cities have stipulations on how far away the tank needs to be from the house. You know, typically in Lake Oswego, I see these lines are typically quite short. They're generally not very long. 10, 15 feet to the tank is very, very normal. But generally speaking, I don't see connections to the tank quite this close to the house. I'm very curious as to what caused all these cracks in the pipe here. It's unusual. This looks like ABS plastic, which is a very strong pipe material. It wouldn't be so surprising if it were Orangeburg tar paper sewer pipe, but that looks like plastic there. It's too shiny to be Orangeburg. Anyway, we've got a myriad of cracks throughout the pipe here, unfortunately. They may have used very thin wall ABS to do this. But you've got a crack right here, immediately into the sewer line. Another one there. You've got there's about 5 of them. And they're in the exact same shape and they're spanned out from each other almost the same distance. It's kind of unusual. And I think you've also got one here in the flow line too. That appears to be what's going on there. So, and I have a sneaking suspicion this line is super, super clean. I don't know if this has been cleaned out recently for the sale of the house, but my concern is this is not really a natural state of the line. This might be post-cleaning, giving us a little bit nicer view of what it normally looks like. So anyway, I would certainly recommend this first section here at 5 feet be updated. Realistically, if you're going to be digging up half the sewer line already, what I would recommend is just taking it the rest of the way to the tank just to help ensure that the line holds up. But the cast iron's really not the stuff that's having issues. It's the newer pipe, funny enough. Anyway, I'm going to mark this out. I'm going to differentiate the marking from the tank from the repair markings with, I'm going to mark the repair spots with green X's. You're going to have an X at each end with some dots in between, and then there's a T marking right where the line connects to the tank. All right, very close, right, almost just about 4 to 6 inches or so away from the foundation of the home there. It's very close. It's one of the reasons you want to deal with something like this. If you've got a pipe that's allowing dirt to flow through it, you don't want that kind of stuff going on around a foundation wall where it could be sucking dirt through it, causing hydro erosion. That can cause issues with the foundation, which in this case would be a far more expensive issue to deal with than the sewer lines. This is very easy to get to. It's only 2 feet deep under just dirt. And then the repair will start just immediately after the clean out. It's
rigid.
I didn't know this was on septic out here.
Yeah. This is a... Alright, I'm going to pull the camera out here. I just wanted to show this. It's easy to eyeball for any repair guys or the city looking at this. So my guess here, the main part of the house here is on crawl space. This popped out part of the house is on slab foundation, which is often an indicator. This is an addition to the house. That's my guess anyway. Anyway, so here's your clean out. There's the markings there. You can see how close they are to the house. I mean, we're sitting, it kind of veers away as it makes its way out. Back in here, you're probably only 6 to 8 inches. By the time you hit the tank, you're maybe 16 inches or so. But that marking right there you see next to that downspout going to the ground, that's right where the line dives down to the tank. And then just beyond that, you can see that little flag sticking out of the ground. That dowel, that right there looks like the indicator for where the tank lid is. So you're just very, very close proximity here. From that marking right there to here is where the pipe has all the cracks in it. So, you know, at the very least, I recommend that be repaired. But first and foremost, before you even mess around with that, I would find out, you know, one, I mean, realistically, even before you even spend the money to pump the tank out, I would find out if this configuration this close to the house can even be this way. I hate to see someone waste a bunch of money pumping out a tank and everything just to find out that the configuration, you know, the proximity to the home is enough to warrant getting this thing completely moved to some other location so it's further away from the house. And or you have the grandfathering thing here in Lake Oswego where the city will often allow for a septic system to remain in place up until it requires repairs. And that's also in combination as to whether or not there is a main lateral within a feasible distance of this house. A lot of places, I want to say off the top of my head here, if you're within something like 350 feet, don't quote me on that, but it's something like that, about 350 feet of a main lateral that's at a depth appropriate to grade a line to, the city will require you to convert to city sewer. So I'd probably check into some of those things before I would mess around even repairing anything and or inspecting the tank, I think that's worth looking at first. And then if repairs are done, either to fix the pipe as it sits right now and or it gets reconfigured to be in a different location, and or if a completely new sewer line has to go into the city main, you want to make sure that line gets inspected after the repairs are done, and you want to do that when the trench is closed, not when it's open, or you're not going to catch any settling problems that occur. Everything's in theory up until there's weight on top of the sewer line. And that's especially important to do if you're running a new sewer line that's a much longer length. It's just more likely to end up with settling issues the longer the line is. So as we sit here right now, the line has good flow to the tank, but you've clearly got some issues here, and the line has the appearance that it's been cleaned. It's extraordinarily clean, despite what you've got going on there with some roots and stuff. So it's not a line I'd let just sit here, because most likely those roots are going to probably grow and turn into something you don't want to mess with.